Okay, the thumbnail might be a little misleading with the waffles and fries, but I wanted to gain attention from you extremist guys who constantly bash on carbohydrates and think that there's some type of evil nutrient that should never be consumed. I know, because I was one of you. I was avoiding them autistically, basically potatoes, fruit, ice cream, cookies. It's certainly not unhealthy to avoid them, especially if you have a larger body fat. And also if you want to detox your whole body, which I have a whole video on. But don't get it twisted, I was still sometimes eating them. It's just that I would feel so bad after eating them, thinking they're really evil. If this sounds like you right now, then don't worry. I will tell you why you should eat more carbs and which one you should absolutely avoid. Our body, in order to move and think, it needs energy, and we create that energy from one initial molecule, glucose. When you take a look at fruits and potatoes, for example, they either contain other simple sugars that can be converted to glucose, or long chains of glucoses connected to each other that we call starches. From this standpoint, carbohydrates are absolutely essential for our survival. Now, carbohydrates may have gotten a bad reputation based on one subgroup. You've heard the term processed carbs. That's referred to carbohydrates that were refined and in the process lost fiber, vitamins and other minerals. These are your refined grains. They've lost everything except for glucose. It may sound appealing for energy, but they don't have anything other to offer. Empty calories. But on the other hand, if we take organic wheat flour, it hasn't been processed. It contains iron, vitamin B and fiber, whilst its starch, that makes 70% of it, can be broken down into small glucose molecules that can be used as energy. It's not a villain after all. You can use this flour to make your own bread, for example, or even a healthy version of waffles. I might release a recipe soon. The biggest problems you have with conventional waffles are processed grains, using a high sugar syrup, even milk if you're lactose intolerant. It has so many problems with it, therefore it's 100% unhealthy. But if you think about replacing these ingredients for their good twins, then you get a waffle that's healthy. Enough with the complex carb talk. Let's get back to simple sugars like a banana, for example. Yes, you shouldn't be a maniac and consume dozens of them, because they'll release a lot of energy you won't be able to expend. But they're certainly essential for your energy production. I want to go over one more healthy food misconception. This has been the #1 method I have used in the past to determine if a food is healthy or not. I measured how healthy a food is purely based on if it created gas in my stomach or not. This will either sound completely funny to you or you'll completely relate to this method. However, this way of thinking might not be accurate in some cases. For example, this specifically applies to wheat flour, which I have villainized for so long. I thought, if I had the gas eating bread or other wheat products, it must be because these foods are harder to digest and therefore not healthy. When I tried organic wheat flour for the first time, I still ate a lot and still had gut problems. I was disappointed to see that this organic label was bull waste. But I stumbled upon a really interesting thought. When you eat high fiber foods, bacteria in your gut will extract it for their purposes. But during the fermentation of fibers, they will produce gas. That's the gas that pains you. Does that mean that wheat flour is overall not healthy for your body? Not necessarily. It just means that you ate too much fiber that produced too much gas as a byproduct. Now, I might be wrong here, but this makes perfect sense. Why would these grains that grow in nature be so bad and detrimental for our gut? I certainly know that abstaining from carbohydrates can be beneficial for your focus, for example, but that wasn't the point of this video. I wanted to give you a really small push to enjoy the carbohydrates you crave. Obviously avoid pizza, cookies and ice cream, but now you learned that it's not all carbohydrates that are bad.